basic organelles of a cell. So this is just a generic cell, and it's an animal cell. I know that because it doesn't have a cell wall and it doesn't have a large central vacuole to store lots of water. It doesn't have chloroplast where we would see photosynthesis taking place. It's an animal cell, and we want to just look at the general parts. Now, no animal cell is going to look like this because it's generic and other parts have been added to it so that we can see what all these different organelles are and kind of what they do. So what I'm going to do is just start in the corner here. I'm going to work my way around the cell to look at some of these parts. The plasma membrane is this outer layer of the cell. It's what regulates what enters or leaves the cell. It kind of keeps things out. Not everything can come in. Not everything goes out of the cell. So it just kind of creates a little barrier and regulates what enters and leaves the cell. The nucleus is a control center of the cell. It has your DNA, your chromosomes in it. All your genetic information is piled into the nucleus and never leaves the nucleus. The cilia helps the cell move. Now, sometimes that means that it actually moves the cell from one place to another. So, for example, bacteria cells have cilia that help move the bacteria along. But in your trachea, the cells will stay in one place, but the cilia will move. And what it's doing is just moving particles out of your windpipe so that it doesn't get into your lungs. Vacuoles are little storage compartments for the cell. Sometimes they store food, sometimes water, sometimes proteins, hormones, some things your cell's making. But vacuoles are like a little vacuum closet. They help store things that are in the cell. Mitochondria is the energy producer of the cells, where you break down sugar and you get ATP energy in your mitochondria. Sometimes you might hear it called the powerhouse of the cell because that's where all the reactions for energy are taking place. Lysosomes are responsible for digestion. Digestion in the sense of not like digesting a hamburger so much as like whenever the cell takes something into it through the plasma membrane, then it needs to be digested or broken down. So for example, a big white blood cell takes a little bacteria in because you're fighting an infection, it's going to destroy that bacteria by the lysosomes. Centrioles are strictly for cell division. Cytoskeleton, like your skeleton, gives the cell support, structure, and shape. The Golgi apparatus helps to package and transport a protein. Think of it kind of like the post office of the cell. It takes a package, puts an address label on it, and then ships it somewhere. That's what the Golgi apparatus does. It packages proteins and then sends them to other parts in the body or other parts in the cell. Ribosomes make proteins. So the DNA is copied by the messenger RNA. The messenger RNA leaves the nucleus, goes to the ribosome, and assembles a protein. And we can use those proteins either in the cell or other places in our body. Rough ER is called rough because it has ribosomes on it. So that's going to do a lot with processing and making, building, and assembling these proteins. But smooth ER is going to deal more with lipids, making lipids. Also, if you take toxins in your cell, the smooth ER will help detoxify your cell. And then the flagella is this long whip-like structure that helps the cells move. So for example, sperm cells have a flagella that helps them get from one place to another. So these are just some basic parts of the cell and what they do.